So, we've talked about how God calls us to work for Him. Even Adam and Eve, living in perfect bliss, have jobs in the garden. And I won't lie, sometimes I wish I didn't have to work. And I have no doubt that sometimes you wish you didn't have to work as students. But when we're feeling discouraged or just plain lazy, God has this word for us: be strong and do not give up, for your work will be rewarded. I once heard a pastor say that the only things that matter on earth are the ones that matter in heaven. So when you are united with God and the two of you are reviewing your works, what is He going to say to you? How are you going to feel? Embarrassed? Regretful? Strong? Proud? The best thing we could ever want to hear from God is, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." So on days when you don't feel like working or you're feeling particularly lazy, remember that God calls you to work for Him and not man, for God will be the one who rewards you. Okay guys, so you can see here a picture of a roll of masking tape. And we all know what masking tape is used for. It's just an adhesive, right? You stick things together with tape. But what about when the tape is gone and you have the end of the roll and you just normally throw it away, right? Well, we're gonna get creative for a minute. And with just some simple materials, you could have a couple of finished rolls of masking tapes, popsicle sticks, glue, and we could create something entirely different than what it was originally used for. So take a look at this pencil holder. So now it is going to be your team's turn to get creative. Your team is going to have 3 minutes to come up with as many uses as possible for a roll of masking tape. It can be a full roll of tape, it can be an empty roll. Pretend you have an infinite number of rolls of tape, and you can use other supplies as well. So make sure that you have one person who's going to write down the ideas, and then at the end of those 3 minutes, we will review the list and we're gonna see which team was able to come up with the most number of ideas. So this is kind of secretive, so work together in your teams and let's see which team can come up with the most number of ideas of what you can do with rolls of masking tape. Okay, that's it. Time is up. Unfortunately, you have to put your pencils down. Your teacher is going to walk around and take your piece of paper that has your ideas. So you are not able to write anything else. Your teacher is going to count to see which team came up with the most number of ideas. They do have to be valid ideas, meaning that I should be able to read them and understand what you were talking about. So we're going to count those up right now. So make sure that you have stopped writing, and we're gonna see who scored the most number of ideas. Okay, so now that you guys have come up with a bunch of really great ideas, it's time to convince the class that yours is the best, the most creative. So your team should create a 2-minute presentation to pitch your best idea. So you are going to look through your entire list of ideas that you came up with, pick one, create a 2-minute presentation to convince the class that it is the best idea. So this can involve sketches or pictures or whatever you want. You are going to need to make your case as to why it is the most creative use of a roll of masking tape. You are going to have 10 minutes on the clock to create your presentation with your group. So that 10 minutes starts now. All right, guys, your time is up. So feel free to stop working on your presentations. We are going to take a look at the people who want to present their ideas to the class. But first, I want to talk a little bit about teamwork. And really, I know that I've hammered this point home a lot already, but this is your first time in these new groups really doing something together, especially in a time pinch. So when you had to decide what your favorite idea was, that may have been a moment of conflict for your group. You may have had one person who wanted to do this idea and other people who wanted to do the other idea, because our perspectives about what is best or most creative, it's unique for each and every single one of us. And someone, ultimately, we have to make that decision, right? Like, you had to decide on one, otherwise we wouldn't have been able to complete the task that we'd been assigned. And then when you were making the PowerPoint, did you create one PowerPoint and share it with everyone and then divide and conquer? Like, say you write this slide, you write this slide, you write this slide? And if so, who designated which slide you were supposed to write? Or was one person the typer and like had everything pulled up and everyone else kind of semi-contributed to it? Were you the person who wanted to be adding a lot of pictures? Were you someone who had a lot to say? Do you think that everyone in your group contributed equally to deciding and creating the PowerPoint? There are a lot of different things that go into group work, and we have a lot of different personalities. And I know we've talked about this before, but this is the first idea of you guys being in a time crunch and having something to accomplish. So for your aerospace project, you are going to basically have free reign of your time, which means it's your responsibility to use your time well, to work as a team to accomplish all of the tasks. And if you don't do that, this class is only going to be harder for you. And so I hope that you're getting to know your teammates. I hope that you're trying to include everyone. Please remember that the teamwork or participation score, it includes both participation and collaboration. And so make sure that you are not only participating, but you are also including others. So it's the idea that it is really a teamwork score, where if you are not being a good team member, then that grade is going to be decreased. So I hope that you guys had a little bit of fun with this activity. I hope that you guys have fun with your activities in the future. Please remember to speak positively and to speak life about you and your team. You guys should be proud of what you came up with. Even if it's silly, most of this class is like creating a pencil holder. That's kind of silly, right? And so if it's silly, just have fun with it. That's what we're supposed to do, but be proud of it and stand by your team. So I hope that you guys are starting to get the idea of how this class is going to roll. And we are going to take a look at some of your PowerPoints to see what kind of creative ideas you came up with, and hopefully we'll be able to figure out maybe which one is most creative or best.